All right, hey everybody, this is Scott Ascenti here with Pritish Raval, a local mortgage specialist that has been in the business for over 10 years. He is really an expert when it comes to this field, and today we're going to be talking about one of the hottest topics in Canada right now, which is one of the main drivers of our real estate market, which is immigration. So I want to hit on a couple of statistics just to start off. First of all, what's the biggest thing that's driving the real estate market right now, in your opinion, and based on what you're seeing?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things that's driving the market is people think that it's just a bubble or something like that, but what in reality what it is, there's a lot of immigrants coming to Canada, and we simply can't keep up with the housing demand. So there's a lot of people coming in, and we can't build houses quick enough.
And costs have exploded so quickly that you can't build houses affordably enough either. So I think a lot of people have a misconception that the immigrants that are coming to the country are all refugees, or they're all entering the country and going on to social assistance, and they're not necessarily buying houses or renting houses. And I think that's a very big mistake in understanding. And I know you've pre-qualified a lot of these people and helped them get mortgages. So tell us what you're seeing. Who are the actual people that are coming here?
Yeah, so you're right. It is a big misconception. What ends up happening is the immigrants that are coming to Canada right now are actually very well educated. We've got a point system to actually immigrate to Canada. So you have to qualify to come into the country. So people coming in aren't low income. They're usually mid to high income, doctors, engineers, a lot of people coming with applied sciences backgrounds. So when they're coming in with large funds from selling their properties in their home country. They have large amounts for down payment. They are already securing employment very quickly if they haven't secured it before even immigrating to the country. And once they're here, those are the people you're competing with. The immigrants that are coming in mid to high income positions with large down payments, and they're coming in and also looking to buy a house immediately because they don't want to be stuck in the rental market, paying down someone else's mortgage.
I agree. I find that a lot of the immigrants have a different mentality than even our local Canadian population, which is they come here and they're like, I need to buy a house. I don't want to rent. I don't want to pay somebody's mortgage. Like you just said, they have the right mindset, in my opinion. And that's a great point. So like you said, they're coming in, they're qualified, they're educated, they're usually getting a job before they even immigrate here, and they're typically coming with money, whether that's coming from a wealthy family or selling their house or business back home and coming to Canada and bringing that money with them, and then entering the real estate market immediately as a buyer, or worst case scenario, a renter, and a well-qualified buyer or renter. So now, I even had this misconception that if you're an immigrant that just entered the country, for instance, that basically you're not going to be able to buy a house because you don't have a work history here, you don't have credit built up, a bank's not going to lend you money. Is that the case, or are there programs that these immigrants can enter into?
Yeah, that's actually one of the biggest ways for me to grow my business has been through immigrants. A lot of misconceptions out there that you need a long work history, you need long credit history. But the government has put in place through our default insurance companies, either CMHC, Sagen, or CGMI, they have programs in place that allow you to buy houses with minimal work history. So what you really need primarily to get a mortgage through a bank or through a lender, what you need to have is, you need to pretty much have 3 months of work history, and you need to have a work permit, a valid work permit, or your permanent residence.
Only 3 months work history, eh?
Yep.
That's interesting. So that blows a lot of misconceptions out of the water, right? So let's say a highly educated immigrant gets a job here in a Canadian company, a tech company, engineering, whatever the case is. They start working for 3 months. They go to the bank and say, hey, I'm looking to buy a house. You guys have programs to actually get them to buy a house. Guys, this is what is driving the market so aggressively right now. These people that are coming here, they have the right mindset to buy houses, they're educated, qualified, and they have good high-paying jobs typically. And a big part of Canada's economy is immigration. And a lot of these employers need to go out of Canada to find qualified employees, right? So they're entering the country with high-paying jobs. So great to know that there are those programs in place. Is there anything else that you guys do to help get these people that are just in the country into the housing market?
Yeah, absolutely. So a big part of what we do is particularly myself and my team, we take the time to educate our clients, right? So they understand what the process is. Obviously having a 3 months of employment history is one thing, but a common question people have is, what about credit? They don't have any established credit in Canada, right? What can we do about that? Some of these individuals have been in the country for a year or two, and they're just about to get their PR status, they're about to get their permanent residence card. What we end up doing in those situations where they don't have a lot of established credits, we can also use bill payments to show form of credit. We can also look at bank history to show form of credit. So if you have utility bills you've been paying, if you've got insurance bills you've been paying, if you've got your credit card bills you've been paying, that's another form of credit validation to make sure that the clients are also paying bills on time. And like you mentioned earlier, they have this mindset. They want to come in, they want to grow their assets, they want to build their real estate portfolio right away. They don't want to pay money in rent. So those are some of the things that we educate the client on that helps them potentially get into a home a lot quicker.
Yeah, that's huge. I find the mindset of a lot of Canadian people and buyers and investors that I talk to is the Canadian people are trying to time the market, and they think, well, the market's going up, I'm gonna wait until it cools down. But the people that aren't from Canada, they come in and they don't try to time the market. They're just like, I'm just gonna buy one of the best asset classes in the world. I'm just gonna buy real estate, and I know that in 20 or 30 years, it's gonna be worth more than it is now. I think a lot of the local people are not used to the rising prices, and they can't grasp it, and they end up sitting on the sidelines and possibly even eventually getting priced out. Especially, this has already happened in a lot of the bigger cities. So great to know the back end details of how this is happening, because I didn't even understand it. And good to know for all the viewers, basically what's driving our market right now. And I don't like to just look at the market based on what's happening right now. I'm trying to predict what's going to happen in the next 10, 15, 20 years. So let's run through a couple quick statistics. Current population of Canada is approximately 38 or 39 million. The federal government's policy is targeting 400,000 immigrants per year for the next 3 years. That's 1.2 million people. That is we don't have enough houses in the country already, okay? So 1.2 million people, we're gonna have to build a lot of houses, not just in Ontario, but all across Canada to house these people. Like we said, there's labor shortages, there's material shortages, and there's land shortages. We're gonna have a hard time keeping up with that demand. And it's not just about the next 3 years. The projected population of Canada by 2036 is 43 to 63 million. Yeah. I know that's a huge spread there. It'll probably fall somewhere in between there. Let's say the population hits 50 million. That's 10 million more people than we have now. That's like, how many more homes do we have to build? And then those people are gonna have kids as well. And we're gonna have to be developing and building for the rest of this country's history, right? Yeah. Canada was built off immigration, and I don't think that's gonna slow down anytime soon. So guys, real estate isn't rocket science. Stop waiting for the market to slow down. Stop waiting for the magical time when you should buy. The Canadian government's telling you what's gonna happen. They're gonna let in more and more people. Yeah. Don't look at it as a bad thing. That's what's made our country great. That's what's gonna continue to make our country great. The people that are coming here are the best of the best from around the world. They're the most educated, they're business owners, they're wealthy people. I think Canada is one of the hardest countries to immigrate to in the world. It doesn't sound like it because it seems like we let a lot of immigrants in, but that's because we have so many people that want to come here, right? So we have the option of choosing and being very selective with who we get. So you're seeing these people, right? Like, what type of people do you typically see?
So a lot of the clients that I'm helping that want to take advantage of the new Come to Canada programs are usually engineers, doctors, consultants. Some of them are also in just the general labor field as well. But for most cases, they're pretty highly educated, and they've already established a good network, and they've already established a down payment. The common question I get is, do they have to put a larger down payment? If you're a new immigrant, do you have to put more than 5%?
That's a good question. I hear this a lot.
Do you have to put more than 5%? Do you have to put 10%, 20%?
Or more, 30% even. Is that, right? Yeah, so how does that work?
Yeah, another misconception. So usually people think they have to have a large down payment, 25, 30%, something like that. And that's not the case. These insured programs, you can do it as little as 5% down payment. So if you're looking to buy a property that's less than $500,000, it's 5% down payment. If it's more than $500,000, more than $500,000, you need to have 10% down payment.
Yeah, and these people are smarter than most people, because a lot of Canadians I talk to, if you only put 5% down, you get hit with CMHC fees, which can be $10,000, $20,000, whatever the case is. Yeah. But I think the immigrants' general thought process, in my experience, has been, well, I can own an asset for a $500,000 asset for $25,000, and I can control that asset. Sign me up all day. I'm not worried about that $10,000 over 30 years. It's really not that much money. Let me get into this market ASAP. And I just think that's the right mindset. because of the fundamentals of Canada's real estate market, which don't show any signs of slowing down. In fact, it's showing signs of worsening, if anything. So, yeah, okay. So those are some good points as well. Any other things that people might be? What about students? Right, students is a huge driver of Canada's market, and Windsor specifically. We have the college and the university. What do you see on that front?
So with students, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit tougher for them to come in and buy any property because they usually don't have the income level there, right? However, the rental market you mentioned, a lot of immigrants have a question around, what if I want to buy a duplex? What if I want to buy a duplex, live in a unit, rent out the other unit? And not just a question for immigrants, it's a question for everybody.
That's a good point,
right? Yeah. But since we're talking about the new immigrants to Canada, the program allows you to buy a duplex. CMHC actually has a program that allows you to buy a triplex or a fourplex. So if you are out there thinking about buying a rental property, living in the unit, so this way it's both an investment for you now, for your principal residence, as well as a rental investment for you as well. There are programs that allow you to do that. So these people are coming in, they want to buy good properties that are going to grow in value, and can do it with 5-10% down payment, and doesn't have to just be a principal resident unit.
Yeah, and if financial freedom is one of your goals, that's the best way to do it. Is they call it house hacking, or buy a multifamily unit, live in one side, rent out the other, get your mortgage paid for. Once you've built up some equity and you want to move into your own personal residence, you keep that asset and you go move into something else. But now you always have that duplex or triplex, whatever the case is, making you money until you die. So it's really not that complicated, and good to know that there are programs in place for that as well. And I know for students, a lot of the students that come to Canada internationally, they don't come just to study, they come to live and eventually settle, become permanent residents, citizens, enter the housing market and stay here forever. Yeah. Canada is a great country to live in. So any programs in place for that, right? Like you said, right? You're studying, you're not working, you don't have the credit, but a year or two into the market, you've built some credit, you've been employed. Yeah. Are you seeing a lot of that as well?
Yeah. So what's happening is a lot of the students are graduating and they're now on a work permit. So as soon as you have that work permit, we're good to go. We can get you into a house.
Interesting. Without 2 years work history?
So yeah, because they've already been in the country.
That's a good point.
They most likely have already established some level of credit, either through cell phone bills, a student visa card. So they've established some form of credit.
Do you find that they know that they should start? They come here, they say, okay, I gotta at least start building some credit, get a credit card, pay off some bills. Is that what you're finding?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The partners we work with in the bank side, they do a phenomenal job at educating the client, making sure they understand the importance of credit, and starting to establish that credit. So when they do graduate and they get that job, whether it's in banking, engineering, whatever the field may be, once they land that job, usually one of the first things they want to do is buy a house. That's one of the first things they want to do because they want to stop paying rent. They want to move out, they want to buy their own house. And that's where these programs specifically cater to newcomers to Canada can benefit them.
Yeah, so absolutely huge. So I hope this is bringing understanding to viewers of what's happening in the market, what is likely to continue to happen, and just a back-end view of how the immigration process works and what impact it has on the housing market. If you are a newcomer to Canada, if you are looking to get into the housing market and not sure how to do it, obviously give Pritish a call. We'll link his details below this video. If you're looking to invest or get into that house hacking situation, or a single family or a duplex, I'd be happy to help as well. You can reach out to me anytime. Thanks, Pritish, for coming in. Really appreciate it, man. This was very informative.
For sure.
And we'll do it again soon as well.
Thanks,
guys.